The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for a long time. They were made up of many alien species, all older than Earth by thousands of years. They believed they had seen everything. They had stopped wars, crushed rebellions, and even outlived dying suns. But there was one thing they had never faced before: humans. The first human ship to cross into their space was not a warship or a diplomat vessel. It was the USS Liberty, a small exploration ship sent by Earth to map uncharted regions. Its Captain Daniel Reyes was a former soldier who had turned to science after the war. He was curious, loud, and always ready with a joke. The Liberty picked up a strange signal near the edge of known space. Against orders, Reyes followed it. What he found was not a distress beacon or a lost probe. It was a massive alien station floating silently in the void. Before anyone could stop him, Reyes hailed the station. A voice responded, cold, calm, perfect English. "This is Xerox of the Galactic Council. You are trespassing in restricted space." Reyes grinned. "Well, hey there. Didn't mean to crash the party. We're just passing through. Got maps? Maybe some coffee?" There was a pause. Then Xerox spoke again. "You are not registered. Identify your species." "Human," Reyes said proudly. "From Earth." Another pause. Then the station lit up. Lights blinked across its surface. A beam of light locked onto the Liberty. Most captains would have run. Reyes opened the observation deck and told his crew to take pictures. Minutes later, a shuttle arrived. Out stepped Xerox, an alien tall and smooth like carved stone. His eyes glowed faintly. Behind him came others, each from a different world, all watching the humans like they were something strange. Reyes walked up and offered his hand. Xerox stared at it. "You wish to touch?" he asked. "It's how we say hello," Reyes said. Finally, Xerox took his hand. It was cold. "I am Xerox the Serene," he said. "And I'm Captain Daniel Reyes," Reyes said. "Nice to meet you." Later, in a report back to the Galactic Council, Xerox wrote, "Primitive, chaotic, unpredictable. They do not fear us. They do not understand their place. And worst of all, they make jokes when they should be silent." But deep down, Xerox was not sure if that was a weakness. Maybe it was strength. And maybe, just maybe, the Galactic Council had finally met something it could not control. Humans. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. After first contact, the Galactic Council decided it was time to talk. They sent Xerox and his aide, Valara, to Earth. Their mission: start official talks with human leaders. The aliens expected fear, awe, or at least respect. They got none of that. Xerox arrived on Earth with a full diplomatic team. They landed in Washington, D.C., where they were greeted not by soldiers or scientists, but by reporters asking strange questions. "Do you have bathrooms on your ship?" one asked. Valara blinked slowly. "We do not process bodily fluids." That made the news the next day. The main talks took place in a large room filled with flags and serious faces. On one side sat Xerox and his team, calm and emotionless. On the other side sat Earth's leaders, including Secretary of State Lena. Briggs. Lena was not impressed. She flipped through the alien treaty like it was junk mail. "So let me get this straight," she said. "You want us to ask permission before we go anywhere in space?" Xerox nodded. "Yes, to prevent chaos." Lena laughed. "We just started going into space. You think we're going to stop now?" The meeting went downhill from there. Halfway through, Daniel Reyes showed up. He had been arrested after trying to sell alien souvenirs he took during first contact. Somehow, he talked his way out of jail and onto the guest list. He walked into the room wearing sunglasses and holding a thermos. "Sorry I'm late," he said. "Got lost. Also, your security is kinda weak." Xerox stared at him. "You were detained," he said coldly. "I call it a vacation," Reyes said, taking a seat. The talks became more confusing. Humans kept interrupting. Someone ordered pizza. Another diplomat asked if the aliens could help fix a broken elevator. By the end, Xeric and Valara were exhausted. Back on their ship, they reviewed the footage. "They do not follow rules," Valara said. "No," Xeric agreed, "and they do not act afraid." Valara looked worried. "Should we be concerned?" Xeric thought for a moment. Then he said, "No, we should be scared." Because for the first time in thousands of years, the Galactic Council had met beings who did not care about their power or their plans. Humans didn't see them as gods or rulers. To humans, they were just ... guests. And that was something the Council had never faced before. Asterisk. The Galactic Council had seen many species fight. Some were fast, some were smart, some had powerful weapons. But none were like humans. To test Earth's place in the galaxy, the Council invited them to the Intergalactic Defense Simulations, a yearly event where young officers from different species trained together in mock battles. No real weapons. No real danger. Just rules, teamwork, and discipline. Earth accepted. Captain Daniel Reyes was put in charge of the human team. He wasn't a general or a top officer. He was just someone who kept showing up when things went wrong. The other teams laughed when they saw what humans brought: old-style uniforms, mismatched gear, and a group of cadets who looked more excited than scared. One of them was Ella Ramirez, a tough young soldier with sharp eyes and a sharper temper. She didn't care about the looks she got. She came to learn, fight, and maybe break a few rules. The first day of training was a disaster. Humans talked too much. They asked weird questions. One cadet tried to trade his boots for an alien energy blade. Xeric watched from the sidelines. "They do not take this seriously," he said, but when the simulations began, everything changed. In one exercise, the human squad was defeated on paper. Their ship was destroyed. Their comms were down. According to the rules, they should have surrendered. Instead, they did something no one expected. They used broken drones as shields. They reprogrammed enemy bots with stolen code. And when all else failed, Ella Ramirez threw a wrench into an active targeting system, causing it to short-circuit. She won her match by breaking the machine with a tool. Other teams started watching. Then copying. Soon, cadets from all over the galaxy were trying new moves. Cheating, some called it. Others called it genius. At the end of the week, 3 alien teams filed formal complaints. One even asked if they could transfer to Earth's side. The Council was stunned. Xeric reviewed the footage again and again. Humans weren't following the plans. They weren't using the best tech. But somehow, they always found a way to win. Back on their ship, Ella sat next to Reyes. "You think we made friends?" she asked. "Not sure," Reyes said, smiling. "But I think we made enemies nervous." And that was exactly what the Galactic Council had never dealt with before. Hey, species that didn't play by the rules. A species that fought like chaos. A species called humans. The Galactic Council tried to understand humans. They watched their battles, studied their talks, and read their reports. But one thing kept confusing them. Humans did not act like other species. They were not afraid of power. They did not follow rules. And sometimes, they caused big trouble by accident. That was what happened on the moon of KOR-R-9. A human science team was sent there to study old ruins. The moon was off limits. It belonged to the Council. No one was allowed near it. But the humans didn't know that. Their leader was Nathan Cole, a scientist who liked asking questions more than following orders. With him was Maya Torres, An engineer who could fix anything with a screwdriver and some luck. They landed on the moon, took notes, ran tests, and found something strange, a buried machine that still worked. "Looks alien," Nathan said. "No kidding," Maya replied. "Let's turn it on." They did. The machine made a sound like thunder. Lights blinked across its surface. Then, without warning, it opened a rift in space. A bright tear in the sky. It only lasted seconds. But during that time, energy shot out and hit a nearby planet. Controlled by the Council. Shields failed, satellites crashed. Communications went dark. The Council saw it as an attack. Xeric called for emergency meetings. Some leaders wanted Earth punished. Others wanted it cut off from space forever. Meanwhile, Nathan and Maya had no idea what they had done. When they returned to Earth, they expected praise. Instead, they got arrested. Captain Daniel Reyes was called. And again, he wasn't happy. "What did you do this time?" he asked Nathan. "We just pressed a button," Nathan said. "A very bad button," Reyes groaned. Earth leaders panicked. They feared war. They feared losing their place in the galaxy. So they sent Reyes to explain. He stood before the Galactic Council and told the truth. "We didn't mean to open a rift. We were just curious and maybe a little bored." Some aliens looked angry. Others looked confused. Xeric stared at him for a long time. Then he said, "You are not soldiers. You are not diplomats. You are not even careful." Reyes smiled. "Nope." Back on Earth, videos of Reyes' speech spread fast. Humans loved it. So did some younger alien species. They started watching humans differently. Not as threats, not as enemies, but as something new. Something wild. And for the first time in history, the Galactic Council began to wonder not if they could control humans, but if they even should. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Galactic Council made a decision. They could not control humans. They could not stop them. So they tried the only thing left. They ignored them. They cut off contact. No more talks. No more invitations. No more watching. But humans did not get the message. Or maybe they just didn't care. Without official permission, human ships kept going into space. Not just government ones, private ships, small groups. Explorers, traders, scientists, and even a few troublemakers. One of them was Jared Wu, a teenager who loved computers more than sleep. He hacked into an alien database just for fun and found something. Strange secret files about the Galactic Council's fear of humans. He posted it all online. Across Earth, people laughed. Some aliens did too. A few younger species even started making memes of Xeric looking confused. Meanwhile, Captain Daniel Reyes was stuck on Earth, bored out of his mind. He had saved the day before. Now he was giving speeches at schools. Then came Marissa Hayes. She used to be in the military. Now, she ran a small team of engineers who built things no one else could afford. She had a plan to build a jump gate, a machine that could open paths across space, and she did it, using parts from old ships and bits of stolen alien tech. She finished the gate in secret. Then she opened it. A path to deep space appeared. Word spread fast. People signed up. Scientists, miners, farmers, even former soldiers like Reyes. They didn't wait for approval. They just went. Back in the Galactic Council, Xeric read the reports. Human ship spotted near Vexa Cluster. Another colony found on Forbidden's planet. Jump gate built without permission. Xeric closed his eyes. "They are everywhere," Valara said. "I know," Xeric replied. For the first time in history, the Council faced a problem they could not fix with rules or force. Humans were not invading. They were exploring. Building. Living. And they were not asking for help. They were doing it themselves. One report ended with a simple line: "We tried to keep them out. But now we cannot tell where space ends and Earth begins." Xerox looked at the stars and whispered, "They are not coming to take over. They are just here." Asterisk, 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 the stars went dark. Not one by one, but in whole sections of space. Planets vanished. Ships disappeared. No warning. No message. The Galactic Council knew what it was. The Void-born, an ancient enemy that had slept for thousands of years. Now it was awake. They sent their best ships, their strongest weapons. But the Void-born did not fight like normal enemies. They changed. They adapted. They learned, and they were winning. Xerox stood on the command deck of the main warship, watching reports come in. Worlds lost. Fleets destroyed. No hope. Then came the signal. From Earth, a single message: "We're coming." Captain Daniel Reyes was back, not as a soldier, not as a diplomat, just as a man who didn't like to lose. He pulled together a team, a mix of soldiers, scientists, and even some aliens who had grown tired of running. Maya Torres was there. She had helped build machines before. Now she was building weapons. Ella Ramirez came too. She was no longer a cadet. She was a fighter. They flew into battle with ships made from old parts, stolen tech, and wild ideas. And they fought like no one else could. They flew straight into black holes just to see what was inside. They dropped bombs made from alien crystals and scrap metal. They used sound waves to confuse creatures that should not have felt fear. And somehow, it worked. One by one, human ships turned the tide. But the only way to stop the Void-born for good was to destroy their core, the heart of their fleet. Maya volunteered. She flew alone into the storm, guiding a bomb straight into the center of the enemy. Her voice crackled over the comms. "One last time. Tell my mom I finally fixed something." That worked. Then silence. Then light. The explosion lit up half the galaxy. The Void-born stopped. Their ships fell apart. Their power faded. The darkness lifted. Earth had one. Back on the command ship, Xerox looked at the footage. Humans cheering, crying, laughing. As if they had just survived a storm, not a war. Valara asked him, "Did we make a mistake?" Xerox shook his head. "No," he said. "We just met something we never thought existed. Something stronger than fear. Something called hope." Asterisk, asterisk, the war was over. The stars were safe again. But now the Galactic Council had a new problem. What to do with humans? They had broken rules. They had made enemies. They had saved the galaxy, and they still didn't know how to behave. A big meeting was held on the Falze Council's home world. Leaders from across the galaxy came. Some wanted to limit human travel. Others wanted to honor them. Xerox sat at the center of the room. He had seen more than most. And he knew one thing: humans could not be controlled. Captain Daniel Reyes stood before the council. He wasn't dressed in full uniform. He had coffee in his hand. He looked like he was late for something else. "I know you're scared," he said. "You think we're messy. You think we don't belong." Some aliens nodded. "But that's what we are," Reyes went on. "We mess things up, we make mistakes, but we also fix them. Usually with duct tape, bad ideas, and too much coffee." A few aliens laughed. Most stayed quiet. Reyes kept going. "You want us to follow your rules? Good luck. You want us to stop exploring? Try and stop the wind. But if you want someone to stand between you and the dark, you can count on us." There was silence. Then Xerox spoke. "We once feared what humans might destroy," he said. "Now I fear what would be lost if they were not here." The vote came. Earth was given full membership in the Galactic Council, not because they asked for it, but because they had earned it. Xeric stepped down after that. He left behind a personal log. I once thought humans were chaos. Now I see they are life, loud, wild, and unstoppable. Back on Earth, people celebrated. On a small ship heading into deep space, Ella Ramirez smiled as she read the news. "Looks like we're official now," she said. Maya Torres' voice played from a recorded message. "Tell my mom I finally fixed something that worked." Ella looked out the window at the stars. "Yeah," she whispered. "And we're just getting started." Behind her, the ship carried a simple message on its side. "Earth, still figuring this out, still making it up as we go." And somewhere in the vast dark of space, humanity flew forward, not perfect, not planned, but free. Asterisk, 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 life went on. Stars still turned. The ship still flew. And humans were still human. Earth had its place now among the stars. Not because anyone fully trusted them, but because no one could ignore them either. Captain Daniel Reyes stayed busy. He wasn't a general or a politician, but people kept asking him to talk, to lead, or just to show up and say what he thought. Most of the time, he said something weird. But it worked. Ella Ramirez became a commander. She led a small fleet of human ships into deep space, looking for new worlds, old enemies, and maybe a little trouble. Maya Torres became a legend. Her final message, "Tell my mom I finally fixed something that worked," was carved into the walls of Earth's first space museum, and Xeric. He retired. He watched Earth from afar. He read their news, watched their videos, listened to their music. Sometimes he even smiled. Back in the Galactic Council, debate still happened. Some species wanted limits on human growth. Others wanted to learn from them. One young alien diplomat asked, "How do we stop them from breaking things?" Xeric answered, "You don't. You just try to keep up." Because humans didn't wait for permission. They didn't follow maps unless they made them themselves. And they never backed down from a challenge. Even when the galaxy tried to slow them down, they found a way forward. A new colony opened near the edge of known space. A human child was born on a moon with purple skies. A small team of explorers discovered ruins older than any known species. And somewhere, deep in the dark, a new signal was found. Not from aliens, not from enemies. Just from humans, sending one simple message across the stars. We're still here. We're still curious, and we're not done yet. Because that's what humans did. They explored, they broke things, and then they fixed them, and then did it all over again. Not everyone was happy about Earth's place in the stars. Some alien species saw humans as a threat. Others just didn't like how loud they were. And then there were those who wanted revenge. The war with the Voidborn had left scars across space. But it also left something else behind. Seeds, hidden messages, old tech, warnings buried in dead worlds. One of those warnings was found by accident. A human mining crew on a frozen moon picked up a strange signal. It wasn't from Earth or any known species. It was a voice. Cold, angry. "You broke the silence. Now you will pay." Back on Earth, Captain Daniel Reyes got the report. He read it once. Then again. Then he said one word, "Great." Ella Ramirez was already packing her gear. She had heard stories, whispers from old alien files, broken codes, and half-burned logs. There were others out there, older than the Voidborn, watching, waiting. Now they were awake. Maya Torres' message still played in the halls of Earth Space Academy. Her final words had become more than a memory. They were a motto. But this time, humans weren't just explorers. They were targets. Xeric returned from retirement. He looked older, tired. Velara asked him, "Why come back now?" "Because we thought the worst was over," Xeric said. "But the real test is just beginning." Earth called for help. Ships from many species answered, not because they had to, but because they chose to. For the first time, humans stood not alone but with friends. Alien pilots flew beside human crews. Machines built by different worlds worked together. And for once, no one argued about rules. There was only one plan: find the enemy before they found Earth. Rias led the charge. As his ship jumped into deep space, Ella looked at the stars and smiled. Looks like we made more than friends, she said. What? Someone asked. Enemies worth fighting. And somewhere in the dark, the galaxy held its breath, because the humans were moving again, and this time, they weren't just exploring. They were ready for war. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The enemy had a name. No one could say it right, so humans called them the Echo. They were older than the stars. Not from this part of space. Maybe not from this time. They sent messages. Warnings carved into dead planets. Symbols burned into moons. You do not belong. But humans never listened. Captain Daniel Rias stood on the bridge of his ship, the USS Liberty, looking at the latest report. More colonies gone silent, said Lieutenant Joe Briggs, son of the old Secretary of State. Rias sipped his coffee. Then we go to them. Ella Ramirez was already suited up. She looked out at the dark with calm eyes. They want us scared, she said. That's how they win. Nope, Rias said. That's how we lose. The human fleet moved fast. Not alone. This time, they had help. Ships from alien allies, fighters built by different species. Weapons made from shared tech. For the first time, Earth was not just fighting for itself. It was fighting for everyone. Zirak watched from the Galactic Council's command station. He had seen empires rise and fall, but he had never seen anything like this. Humans did not hide. They did not run. They went straight into the unknown, and they brought hope with them. The first battle was near a dying star. The Echo attacked with machines that changed shape. They adapted mid-fight. No one had seen anything like them, except humans. Maya Torres' old notes helped, her designs, her ideas. Even after death, she was still helping win the war. A small team led by Ella boarded one of the enemy ships. What they found made their blood run cold. The Echo didn't just hate humans. They feared them. Because unlike every other species, humans didn't stop. They didn't give up. They didn't wait for permission. They kept going, even when they should have been afraid. Back on Earth, people waited, watched, hoped. Joe Briggs asked Reyes, "Why do we keep doing this?" Reyes smiled, "Because someone has to." And somewhere, in deep space, the humans flew forward not because they were the strongest, but because they were the last. Ones left who still believed in tomorrow. Asterisk, asterisk.